Whoa. Hey, Mr. Dave, we are live. Are you ready to kick this thing out, brother?
Oh, you bet. I'm born ready.
Let's do it.
KTTV, giving you what you need. Motivation, education unleashed. H-Town representing, we forever keep it rolling. Join the conversation with inspirational stories. Thought-provoking, feel that energy. Kendrick Thomas aiming to lift the community. True indeed, tune in, come and see. Giving you what you need. KTTV, let's go. KTTV.
And look, y'all, we have a special night tonight. What to do, KTTV? This is KT, and I am coming at you live with another episode of Education Unleashed. And on tonight, we are going across the pond where it's cold. It's a little colder from our conversation pregame. And we are talking to none other than nutritionist, coach, vegan extraordinaire, speaker, author. Look, I can keep going, but y'all get the idea. This guy's pretty big. Mr. Dave Sheahan, how you doing tonight, baby?
Hey, great to be here. You could have kept going there. I was loving that. The ego was loving that there.
Hey, look, man. Hey, if we don't get our flowers now, when are we going to get them, man? So how you feeling, man? What's been going on?
All good. Look, my purpose in life besides my son is to do what I can to make a positive impact on other people. So again, it's all about educating, motivating, and hopefully inspiring people. And my days are just filled with sharing content, working with clients, working with our community, and doing all I can to help other people. And we need it now more than ever because we're living in a world that's pretty crazy. There's so much negativity. There's so much confusion about what's true and what's not true in terms of how to live our lives. So I'm very passionate about basically cutting through the BS, getting to the facts, letting people know exactly how they can change their lives for the better, and then loving hearing about the positive impact it has from people when they get back to me.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that's what it's about, man, being able to help other people and stay rooted in the cause. Because I'm telling you, when I figured out that it wasn't just about me in life, it kind of changed, man, because every day I feel like I did my part, and so even, one layer of doing that part is what I pour into the kids. But then I thought about outside of that, still just being a good human being, right? And so making that mission the same care and tenderness for those kids I try to have for my fellow adults as well. Sometimes it's hard, but I try.
And yeah, exactly. But the big thing, and same for everybody, anyone who's listening and watching this and anybody in the world, we all have the power to have a positive impact on other people. You don't have to be a speaker, a coach, a teacher, or any of these positions. Everybody can. Something as simple as, like, one thing I consciously decided to do about, 15 years ago, was every single person I meet when I'm out, I acknowledge them. Smile, wave, how you doing, wink, nod, something. Acknowledge their existence, because you never know the power that may have on their day. They could be having a really terrible day and they may feel insignificant. And just someone acknowledging their existence could just give them that tiny spark. It means they go and do something with that day versus just maybe going back to bed or drinking all day or whatever people typically do destructively. So we all have that power. And this is what's beautiful about, if you embrace that power you've got, we can create such a great world just with full of kindness, like you were saying.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. And yeah, man, I'm thinking about the last time that we connected. How many years ago? I think we said about maybe 2 years ago.
Yes, 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm trying to think. I remember where we recorded, the house I was living in. I think that's about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, because I moved since then. Yeah, man, I know it was definitely around there, a little past the pandemic time, or maybe I think that was round 2. I think the first one was in the thick of the pandemic, right?
Yeah, it might have been towards the end, maybe 2021 or so.
Come on, man, we've been doing this thing, and look, we still here, bro.
Exactly, that's all that matters. Keep them going till my last fresh.
So I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight. Pretty much, I tried to break it down into 4 categories. So it's nutrition, education, performance, healthy habits for educators and students, managing, doing the health holidays, right? Because we know Thanksgiving is coming up, Christmas is coming up, and we tend to let loose. So I'm looking forward to some good information tonight about how that can go as far as with nutrition and for as for me, my problem is always eating that week and the hell that I have coming back to work the next week, right? Because I've been so glutton. So how can we manage a little bit more of that and then preparing for that new year? As we get ready to turn into the last quarter, I know a lot of people are about to start those resolutions again.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about how we can start getting ourselves on the right foot, man. So what we'll do, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to kind of get into a little bit of that conversation. So we'll be right back.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Education Unleashed. I am here with the man himself, Mr. Dave Sheahan. Look, Dave, as we get into this thing tonight, I set the tone by saying this is Education Unleashed. So I tried to go, I said to myself, because I took a little break and I said, I think I've touched every area of education itself. We've been in the classroom, outside the classroom, leadership, principalship. So I said, now, as we go through this journey, how can I start back to giving us the tools that we need to make it through the journey as we go through those principalships and all those pieces, man? So tonight, as we set the tone, man, I just wanted to kind of keep that in mind and just come straight out the gate by saying, we're going as educators, we got 8-hour days. We got a 30-minute lunch where a lot of the times we prepping for the next class and we eating that apple or a sandwich on the go. When you think about that over a full 187 days, how does that diet, in your opinion, impact our focus and our performance in that educational setting?
Yeah, it has a massive impact. And like you said, the kind of typical day, the way it runs is quite fast-paced. It's very hard to fit in the right things. But I suppose, again, it comes down again to education, knowing the right things and knowing the why. It's like when I'm telling people what they should do ideally, I'm very big in explaining the why. Because it's not like, for instance, the military, just do this, do this, do this. If you don't understand the why, then you're less likely to actually do it. Because you don't have that kind of urgency behind it. So in terms of like two things are really important. There's what you consume liquid-wise, what you consume food-wise, okay? And throughout the day, during the school year, school term, school days, you have to be in control of that. And you have to be aware of, why do I even need to do that? What does it matter if I skip food or just work through lunch, or if I'm drinking like a Monster or a Red Bull or a coffee as opposed to water? What does it really matter? Well, the thing is, it matters a lot, because let's take with our brains, which obviously is the main thing we're using throughout the day. Our brains are 83% water. What makes water even more important is our brain does not retain water. Whereas like our bodies are 75% water, but it retains water, okay? Which means if you're not hydrated, your brain isn't functioning to the right level, which means your memory is going to be affected, your concentration is going to be affected, your focus can be affected, your mood is going to be affected, your energy is going to be affected. So all these things are affected, and all has a knock-on effect. So if you're constantly dehydrated, most people are chronically dehydrated because, one, they don't drink enough water anyway, but then what they do drink is energy drinks, soft drinks. Tons and tons of coffee has become a big thing now, a big crutch, because it does give you that burst, but then you drop and then you want some more. So all those things dehydrate you. So people are literally minus hydration. So like I said, our brain doesn't retain water. It's 83% water. So whatever level people are operating at right now, they don't have good levels of hydration. The good news is you have so much more potential in terms of your brain power, like so much more. So it's very important for teachers in particular, and again for students too, when we're using our brain in such an important part of the day, that we have to be drinking water throughout the day. Even if it's just sipping. The simplest thing to do is like have a bottle like on your desk or wherever, and just get in the habit of sipping. Now start off your day. The first thing everyone should do once you got out of bed, got dressed, maybe go to the toilet, throw down some water. If you're not used to that, it might be like a small cup or small glass. Work towards a liter, because water is energy. So after no water for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours, you need to get that water in there to hydrate the brain, hydrate your body, get the energy burst. That's a very important first step for everybody every single day. But then throughout the day, drink water at regular intervals. Let's talk about food then, okay? Which again is a huge struggle too, because again, could be minutes is all you've got in a day to throw some food in. Our brain consumes 20% of the calories we consume. Again, let's keep focused on the brain, because again, it's the most important thing in the school day. If your brain is being fed like processed crap or food that's void of nutrition, it's not going to be much calories for your brain to function again optimally. Whereas if it's something, let's even say something like fruit, nuts, carrots, celery, cucumber sticks with maybe some hummus, like a quick dip. It could be some rice cakes, oat cakes, corn cakes with some peanut butter. You know, these are quick, easy snacks that even if you're under pressure and you need to prep for the next class during your lunch break, you can easily be eating those even while you're doing the prep. Because these just, you know, take bites, even if it's only half a banana, it's something. Handful of nuts. Whenever you get the opportunity, throw good food in. Because like I said, 20% of calories goes to your brain. So if you took the opposite, if people are eating like supposed health bars, which most of them are no better than like candy bars, in a lot of cases, or they're just eating actual candy bars because that's all they feel like eating, or they're eating some form of processed or high sugar kind of foods. And you know, the two of that together, refined sugar as opposed to just sugar, because like fruit sugar too, but it's good sugar. If you're eating food that's not really food or not nutritionally dense, you will get that kick in terms of a bit of energy, but that will drop pretty quick. Your blood sugars will drop. You're going to feel tired again. You're battling again to try keep going, but your brain, for its functioning, is not getting fed what it needs to be fed. So what's really key for teachers and any educators of any form is just be conscious of the importance of what you put in your mouth, both liquid and food source, because of how it's feeding your brain, which then determines your focus, concentration, memory, mood, and energy. And once you understand that, then at least when you're tempted to have the wrong things, or not go for the right things because I don't have time, that voice in the back head goes, but look, if you don't drink some water, you're going to be dehydrated, you can't function optimally. You don't eat any food, or you do eat the wrong food, again, you can't function optimally. That's why I'm very big always in stressing the why, because if you understand the why, you're more likely to do the right things. Hope that makes sense.
Most definitely makes sense, man. I think the biggest piece of that, and my takeaway is, I'm really cheating my brain, man. One, I think about me. I'll go in. I always keep like a case of water, right? And so maybe I'll do one or two. Now I do run in the morning, and so then I'm knocking about 2 bottles before I even get started. So then, but by the time I get to work, I may have like 1 or 2, and that be it for that 8-hour span. And so that kind of puts me into that mindset of, may have to change up the way I'm doing this and be a little bit more intentional about that water, because I agree. I am not reaching peak performance if I'm not staying hydrated, right? Or at least having something fed. Now,
and the key thing, the word there is intentional as well. You know, the key word's intentional. This is why, again, if you're conscious of what you're doing, then you can be intentional about what you do. And if you ever don't do the right things, you can kind of look and see, okay, why did that happen? And then identify how you can do better the next time. Because this thing for anyone who's listening, you know, it's knowing the right things. It's not easy to change habits. You could be doing the same thing now for years, all the wrong things. All that matters is taking some steps in the right direction. So whatever, again, I share or advise, take that as being, that's what you're aiming for, but what's a positive step? What's something that's a bit better than what you've been doing? It's like you're saying, you normally have 2 bottles and then that might be it. Well, at least for the next week, try have 3 bottles, but decide, where am I putting it in? I'll have it just at the end of my lunch break. You know, you need to put it in somewhere. So it's like an appointment. So then it becomes normal. And then it just happens automatically, like brushing your teeth.
Now we got the holidays coming up, and I know you talk a lot about your son. So I know you've been through this, right? We home for vacation, and we got the snacks, right? But now the snacks are going faster because the kids have access, right? As a parent, how do you encourage those healthier food choices while the students are at home during that time, and especially during the holidays?
There's various things there. Like one thing that's very important, just from a parent's perspective. So, You know, when you became a parent, like people who desire, you know, they want to become a parent, and it was one of the big things for life, and they became a parent. You know, the reason was that, you know, you're passionate about raising a child and raising it to the best of your ability. So again, it's understanding again, you know, what are the habits doing to that child. So let's say if the child is constantly eating all the wrong foods, loads of processed food, loads of soda, all the wrong stuff. Like, what is that child doing? And if they're being allowed to do it, what kind of message is that given to them? And then that carries on then through generations, which is what we see happening all the time. That's why there's such health epidemics constantly in all different forms. So number one thing a parent needs to do is just go, look, you know what? I need to grab this bull by the horns a bit more, because at the end of the day, I'm the one who's in charge here, not the child. And it's for their own good. And also, like, I need to be a good role model. So it actually starts with the parent, because like monkey see, monkey do. You know, so if a child sees the parents typically living well enough, drinking the right stuff, eating the right foods, typically they'll copy. That's why it's so important from the child being a baby to be feeding the child the right food, you eating the right food. And that's what they grow up as normal. Like with my son, he grew up just eating all healthy food. Just, it was normal for him. He's 19 now. He himself makes the right food choice in terms of, he doesn't be forced. He wants to eat the right food because his body now wants the right food. Because when you eat the right food, it wants it. So if you eat crap food, the body wants more crap food. So parents have to take on that, you know, monkey see, monkey do. They need to make sure that they are being good role models themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that you can never eat bad stuff or what you consider bad stuff. What I always stress to people is, you know, 5-6 days of the week, be reasonably good, tick the healthy lifestyle boxes. 1 or 2 days have no rules. When you come into holiday time, I'm a big believer in, on the holidays, it's a holiday, switch off, no rules, nothing. So like for you guys with Thanksgiving, so you've got Thanksgiving. So let's say the day of Thanksgiving, or maybe even the night before, no rules. You have whatever. Woo. So party on, because the thing is, that's 1 day, right? Or maybe 2 days, let's call it max. What's more important is the weeks around it. Be on track the weeks around it. It's same as like you got Christmas. Christmas is like a few days, maximum of a week. It's not a month. A lot of people make it a month. That's the problem. It's a few days.
I'm going for at least 7, man.
Yeah. So you take it, you know, let's go 3-5 days, right? Then you got birthdays, anniversaries, Easter. So they're like your times. So switch off. Same as you go on a holiday, like your general vacation. So when you're on those kind of days, switch off, no rules. Now, that doesn't mean you eat yourself silly. It doesn't mean you eat like a pig. You do what you want to do within reason. Because the thing about food is you should enjoy it, whether you're eating good food or you're eating, let's call it cheap food. So it's not about gorging. You should be enjoying it. If you're stuffing your face, it's not enjoyable. So it's having, like, I love ice cream. I love cookies, things like that. So when I'm having my treat 1-2 times a week, that's typically my go-to. I'm not eating like 4 or 5 tubs of it. You know, I'm having a portion and I'm happy out with it because I've got myself used to it. So during the holiday times, it is important to incorporate a certain allowance for eating rubbishy stuff. But from the kids, for the parents' perspective, it should be a case of there's a normal lifestyle, the normal school weeks. We're generally healthy. And again, let's say the weekend, a few treats, but that's kind of it. And they understand those rules and they get into that lifestyle, and that's just their normal. Then it comes to holiday time, you might be going off, doing things like going bowling, you might be going to shows, you could be doing all kinds of stuff, meeting friends, having friends around, play dates, whatever. There's a bit more allowance. You might go to cinema, get some popcorn or whatever it might be. So there's a bit more rubbish allowed, but still the general days are okay. But there's more allowance. And again, just communicate with the children about what these are the rules and this is the way it works. But again, educate them too. Like, kids are very curious. They want to know stuff. Educate them on why that food is not food you can eat all the time, or that drink is not what you can have all the time. You know, why there has to be a moderation. What's it doing? What is it doing to your brain, your energy, your mood? So I think there's be a role model, be an educator, set the ground rules, and create that lifestyle where they understand it. And like I said, make sure you do at holiday time. Don't be restrictive. Have no rules, but as I said, without that being gorgeous.
Woo, man, look. I'm gonna try that this year, man. I'm not gonna go for Thanksgiving. I don't go home, so I don't have too much of a problem. But for Christmas, my God, man, it's not just that day. I'm gonna work on that this year. Like I'm gonna try to go like 2 days max.
Yeah.
All right, Mama, you're gonna have to hold off on the cakes. I'm just letting her know. All right. I
But
love it,
what
man.
I
So
always
much
say with
good
the
information.
Christmas, you know what the Christmas thing?
Yeah.
It's like I'm saying even to people now, you know, like we've after this week, we've 7 full weeks left. Then it's Christmas week. So what I'm saying to people is get really zoned in and focused now. Whatever kind of goals you want to finish off for the year, the next 7 weeks is where it's at. Put the effort in, make the sacrifice. Have your decent weeks in terms of your food, your exercise, and so on. Still with your few treats, maybe at the weekend or whenever that suits you. Then once it hits that 20, I think it'd be 21st, 22nd. Yeah, it's a Saturday, Sunday. Switch off and stay switched off until 27, 28. You got those 4 or 5 days, party on, do whatever, switch off, enjoy. 27 to like the first or so, 60, 70% back on track. Don't go perfect. If you do, great, but don't aim for that. Because we want, again, to get in our minds we're winning. Be 60, 70%, and then once it hits the 1st, 2nd of January, back on it again, back to good lifestyle, and do the same again for the year. Normal weeks, good lifestyle, except for when you go on holidays, Easter, birthdays, anniversaries, back around the circle to Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's a realistic lifestyle for everyone to get into.
Man, that was just the playbook, right? That's all. Thank you. That's all I need, right? That was the playbook right there, man. All right, what we'll do, let's take a quick break, and then I want to get a little bit more into the coaching side of it, right? We're promoting the physical fitness, and then exactly how does that physical fitness help us, and what are some of the things we can do? So we'll be right back. Y'all keep it on. All right, y'all, welcome back. I get a little excited about that. All right, welcome back to Education Unleashed. I am your host, KT, and I'm here with, as y'all hear, man, nutritionist, coach extraordinaire, content creator, Mr. Dave Sheahan. Dave, as we get into this thing a little bit more, right? We got students, and you touched on it a little bit as you talked to us about the epidemic, where we have the child obesity, right? We have so many diseases that simply come from the food that we eat, like a lot of your blood pressure, your
100%.
diabetes, all these, right? And as we look at starting early, we have so many programs here in America that are tailored to those students. But as you look at the world around us and even your experiences in Ireland, what advice would you give educators to promote healthier lifestyles for themselves and for their students?
Good question. Because, like, look, the problem is, as I said, there's so many epidemics out there: obesity, diabetes, like all these different things. Now we're getting younger and younger. And the reality is, the one thing that people need to start facing completely is that it's lifestyle related. You know, they're lifestyle diseases, so they're a reflection of the way that you're living. So it's like it's building up over time. It's like someone getting a heart attack. That didn't happen that day. That's building up for possibly 20 years. Ticking time bomb, and then boom. So it's the same with all these different things. So that's the first thing. People be aware that, like, you reap what you sow. So what you do today, your decisions and actions today determines your future tomorrow, basically. And we need to, again, live more that way instead of waiting till something happens and then go, oh, I'm sick now. What'll I do about it? Let's go for a pill or whatever. You know, why not just prevent it in the first place? So this is a key role, again, that teachers, educators have with the children, because, again, you have a captive audience, and even more so than at home, because at home with children, at the end of the day, they're your kids, you're their parent. In a family dynamic, people don't always listen to each other. Even if someone's the expert of the world, they still don't listen. It's just the way it is. Whereas when you're in a classroom, it's a captive audience. So they are listening, and they're conditioned to listen to you. That's part of the whole process. So it's making use of that from a teacher's perspective. So in terms of, like, promoting, helping both teachers and kids have healthier lifestyles, like, make it part of the education process, make it part of the day, you know, make it part of some of the subjects. You know, it depends on what subjects you guys have and stuff, but, you know, it'd be very easy to have slots every day where it could be just talking about a healthier food, or 1 or 2 alternatives to, let's say, an unhealthy food, or getting kids to just do 5 minutes of basic exercise in the classroom, because if nothing else, it'll just kind of wake them up. Because one thing is we're sitting too long when we're in the classroom for both the teachers and the students. Like our concentration span is, for most people, anything from 45 minutes to an hour 15. Once you pass that hour 15, with the best will in the world, your concentration is dropped. We really should be having breaks every time, 45 to 115. It might be 1 minute, just walk around, drink some water, jump around, whatever. You know, same in the workplace. You know, we're sitting too long. We can't concentrate for that length of time. Same as people studying. They can study for 6-7 hours, study all night. It's not productive. You know, short bursts, concentrated, focused, and then take a little breather, then go again. That's the most optimum way to go. So, you know, teachers to kind of manage the classroom a little bit that way. There could be something as simple as, let's say, after 30 minutes, getting all the kids to get up and start doing like jumping jacks or run on the spot or shadow boxing, dance around like no one's watching, whatever. Like kids will love just the difference, the change, just the freedom to do stuff without worrying, just sitting there. Because that's the thing about kids, especially with exercise. You know, a lot of times they're not allowed to exercise, they're not allowed into gyms, not allowed on equipment, not allowed to do anything. So if a teacher's encourage them to actually move and do stuff, ideal. Like you could even throw on a YouTube clip that's like, you know, body weight exercise at home and just do some of the exercises in class. They could all sit up and down off their chairs. That's basically squats. They could do some press ups against the desk or on the floor. You know, little things like that, as well as the cardio kind of exercise. That'd be one thing, get them moving. And like physical education, like PE should be such a much bigger player in schools. Now, unfortunately, like it's like the whole system is kind of controlling it too much that it's limiting the amount of physical exercise. Same as here in Ireland. Like it's so much less here now than it was when I was a kid. And when I was in school, it was too little then. So it's even got less now. So it should be more of it. Every single day, there should be at least an hour of physical education. And then you got your playtime out in the yard. So all that kind of stuff needs to be encouraged. And I suppose teachers need, to push more to get that incorporated in their own individual schools. And then, like I said, within the class themselves, to just throw in bits of exercise here and there, because it will actually make the kids more attentive, because it stimulates your brain. Every time you exercise, you're more alert afterwards. That's why it's important to actually not go longer than like 45 minutes, an hour 15. Do something for a minute or two and then go back at it. The concentration is much better. So that'd be a way of incorporating exercise. You could even have an exercise of the day, exercise of the week, whatever it might be. Even get the kids involved where they have to come in with an exercise and even do a demonstration of how to do that exercise. Because again, they love just the fact of getting involved. Like I said with the food, the same thing. You know, they might have to speak about a particular food and why it's good for you. Just give 3 points why this food is good for you. Or types of foods like carbs, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals. You know, incorporate that into the day. Like, of course, you have to teach your subjects, and it's very tight and it's very time consuming. But even a few minutes throughout the day dedicated to it would be great. So just incorporate it in. Same as like even with lunches and stuff. Some schools, of course, are very controlled in terms of what's allowed and what's not allowed. But if it's not as controlled, have days where only certain foods are allowed, or people have to, again, have what's considered a healthy lunch, but it's from a list that maybe they're given. Like, choose something out of this. So at least it's better than what they've done, say, other days. You know, so because a lot of it's education. Like a lot of time people, like parents will think certain foods are healthy because it's marketed as healthy, but it couldn't be further from the truth. So marketing is a big part to play in the food industry, and parents are doing their best a lot of the time, but they're picking the wrong foods. So make education part of the school process is what I'd say for teachers, and incorporating with the kids, and they're both winning then. They're both benefiting from it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a few programs that we're running through this year, and a lot of it has been focused on that wellness, getting kids moving. We've bought a lot of equipment over the last few years.
Right.
And so a lot of the times the ABL equipment keeps them busy, especially for those kids who need to fidget a lot and move. You may get pedals under your desk to keep your feet going, wobble chairs where you can kind of keep yourself, work on your balance. So many pieces of that is going. But like you say, it's always that intentionality of understanding, how am I promoting this health and wellness? Health and wellness inside of my class, even when I'm not promoting it, right? Just doing those things to keep those kids moving throughout the day. Now, what I want to do is I want to start landing the plane, but I really want to touch on two big things before we get out of here. And that's going to be stress, right? Because we know that stress is an important factor. One of those reasons that we overeat, one of those reasons that we struggle with food. So I want to ask you a question about that. But then after that, we're going to talk about what we're going to do for this new year. But as it relates to stress, how does that stress impact our nutritional choices? And what are some of the ways in your coaching experiences that you work with people to help them manage stress through the food and the habits that they make?
Yeah, no, it's a very important point because, like, look, life in general is stressful. No, it's stressful for everybody now in one shape or form. Again, in the education point of view, it's super stressful because so much is being expected of teachers of what they have to get done in a day, and really there isn't enough time. And then there's all the extra stuff they need to do outside of class, or like you said, prepping even during their lunch. A lot of teachers aren't even getting a proper lunch break, so they're having to do this. So there's a constant level of stress. Now, the problem with stress is the worst thing for your body. Like we touched on about diseases and everything and the lifestyle factors and food. But stress is way above all of them. Like if you're constantly in stress mode, that's drawing disease towards you quicker than anything else would. Food, lack of exercise, any of these things. So we need to be conscious of the negative impact of stress and do what we can to try to learn to control it. Now, you said about food, like everyone gets triggered by stress and then goes for something as comfort. That's the kind of natural process. Now, that's a bit of it's like a habit again, or it's like a script people have running in their head. So you got two things. Some people will go straight for the junk food, bars of chocolate, crisps, whatever it might be. Potato chips, as you call them. We call them crisps here. So you got that side and consuming large amounts really, really quickly. But again, it's comfort. The trigger is the stress and doing that. And that could happen again straight after school, during the lunch break, that night when things finally settle down. It's like for other people, it'd be a case of going for alcohol. And especially one thing that's happened a lot in the last 15, 20 years is like at the end of the day, kids in bed, work's over. Oh, right, time for me, time to relax, bit of me time. I deserve a glass of wine, or it might be beer or whatever it might be. Now, look, in one way, you're kind of true, but the problem is that if you're consistently doing that, that's terrible for your health. Because when you consume alcohol, it means you don't sleep properly. You don't get deep sleep. You don't get deep sleep, then it has a knock-on effect for mood, energy, everything the next day. So that's one that people really need to work on for the overall negative effects of it, because it's quite massive. Now, everyone will have a reaction to the trigger. So you get stressed, you get triggered, feel like going for something. What you need to work on is how you're reacting. So first, know what the triggers are. So that's the first thing. Be aware of what triggers me. And next is, what do I normally do? Okay, what am I going to do instead of it? And instead of doing something that's destructive, do something that's constructive. So a very quick, easy one and free one to do is to do some exercise. There is literally no better de-stressor than exercise. Like it's literally medicine for your mind. When someone feels stressed, not just in the classroom, any time in life, the best thing you could do is go do some exercise. I always said if I ever became in charge of a country or the world right in, I'd put a punch bag in every single house. Because if you get stressed, go into that room and beat the life out of that punch bag, and you'll come out a few minutes later and feel much better. So exercise is the best way to release that kind of negative energy within you. So it's trying to think of different things. Meditation's another great way. Also listening to, let's say, an uplifting song that you're into. Pick something that kind of is a more positive reaction.
Yeah.
Because as well as the negative impacts in terms of overall bigger picture stuff, when you are stressed, you release cortisol. Cortisol promotes fat storage. Cortisol is not a good hormone to have raging throughout your body because it upsets a lot of the natural mechanisms of how the body operates. So it's another contributing factor to a lot of what goes wrong with people, even just with their gut.
And now I got a question about that too. So let's say for me, I run, right? I'm doing a few miles per day, and from what I read, that my body is creating cortisol as I'm running because I'm stressing. And when I'm doing it, I'm running like miles, like, so maybe not straight, but let's say I may run like 2 laps and then I may walk a little bit. And how do I avoid creating that cortisol and then run?
Yeah, great question. So it's like different types of situations of cortisol. So you take like you're exercising. Whenever someone's exercising, you are stressing your body, but that's a positive stress because you want to stress the body, and you release cortisol, but also you're kind of releasing it at the same time, so releasing from your body. So it isn't going to go have the negative effects it will have if you're getting super stressed from just on negative reasons, releasing it in that for that reason, then that's more it's going into destructive nature in your body. It's like when you don't sleep properly, you're not getting deep sleep. The body will release cortisol because it's stressed, because it's not getting to do the job it was meant to. So where in both situations you are releasing cortisol, one is in a very positive situation where the positive is completely overriding. Like the cortisol release there, it's just a necessity. It's just in terms of the way the body's working. It's like lactic acid. You're going to produce a certain amount of lactic acid as well. Yeah. But the body will get that out of it. It'll clear it out because it's just part of the positive process of exercising. Whereas again, lack of sleep, actual stress in the moment, that's a different level of cortisol, a different type of cortisol, especially the impact it has. But that's an important distinction to make for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Because before that conversation right there, I was like, man, am I spinning my wheels? Should I just be a walker? I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know.
All right,
keep
man.
Running. It's great to have that routine. Just keep that going. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So much good information. What we'll do is, let's begin to land this plane. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to begin that outlook for the new year. So many people are about to start thinking about those resolutions. So let's take a look at, some of the ideas for next year. We'll be right back.
You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the...
All right, y'all, welcome back to Education Unleashed. I am here with the man himself, all the way from Ireland. And I think we started this around about 12:30. I said we was going to go about 30 minutes. Here we are, 37, but we are in the game. Mr. Dave Sheahan, thank you so much for taking that time out, man, and getting up in the middle of the night as we talk about the importance of sleep, man.
You got to do what you got to do.
Hey, man. So now, last question for tonight before we get out of here. Like I say, resolutions are about to start coming. People make big plans, and a lot of times they don't pan out. I want to go micro today. And in your opinion, what are 3 small but impactful changes that people can make to start the new year with a healthier outlook?
Now, the big problem for people is exactly what you said, or one word you said, big. So what people do is where they're destined to fail almost immediately is when they're going into new year and they're setting their resolutions or their goals or the changes they want to make. They're going from point A to point B is way over here. Yeah. It's like someone who lives in McDonald's all day, has it 3 or 4 times a day, and then going, okay, I'm going to have salad 3 times a day. It's too chalk and cheese. So very important thing for people to do. It's great having big goals. Like everyone should have big goals. That's great. Have goals that scare you. Like go into 2025, looking at it, what I want to achieve, have things that nearly scare you because it's hard to believe you're going to make them happen. That's perfect. But in terms of what you then aim to do, like the first week of January, needs to be like a step in the right direction. So baby steps. You've got your big vision, what you want to achieve, but put it all the way back to, okay, what will I do now that's a positive step? This is better than what I have been doing. I always tell clients and tell our community that today be better than yesterday, this week be better than last week. Now, if you just literally live by those mantras and focus on them and focus on evolving into a better version of you every day, you have to keep progressing. Like you have to keep improving many different areas of your life. So today be better than yesterday, this week be better than last week, and be committed to evolving to a better version of you. So for people to remember those when you go into the new year and every week be like that. Caveat on that is just, again, remember holidays, special occasions, you switch off. Besides that, you're switched on, okay? Now, from a health and well-being point of view, like you said, what are 3 kind of good bits of advice for people to do? So like I said, small steps in the right direction is one thing, which I'll give examples of in a sec. Where I would say the best things to do, one is water. Remember what I said earlier? Your brain's 83% water, does not retain water, and your body's 75% water. Now, we hear so much about proteins and carbs and all this kind of stuff. We don't hear much about water. Water is 75% of your body. It's pretty damn important. It's the most important thing after oxygen. So if you have no oxygen, you're in trouble. If you don't have any water, you'll be dead in 7 days. So, we can survive without food for 3 to 6 months. So water is really important. So whatever your water intake is right now, commit that from the 1st of January, you're going to have 500 ml extra. So give an example. Let's say right now you drink 500 ml on average most days. Everyone should be drinking at least 4 liters of water a day. At least. Could be even more, right? Doesn't mean 1st of January you're going to go for 4 liters. What you do is you go from your 500 average to 1 liter. You're going to have 1 liter a day for a week, 2 weeks, something like that. When that starts to feel like it's normal and your body, like it needs it, you feel that need and it becomes normal habit, then go from 1 liter to 1.5. Same process again. Do it until it feels normal, which could be a week, it could be 3 months. You do you, everyone's different. But that will have a massive impact on your life, your health, your well-being, because you'll be hydrated, which means your brain will work better. So whatever level you're at right now, your brain will go to another level. Your body will function better. Your gut will function better. Your bowel movements even will function better. Every system in your body will function better. You'll have better energy because water is literally energy. It's not just for hydration, it's energy. You'll detox your body because we're filled with toxins, not just from the food we eat, but again, touch on the stress. That's why you need to get that stuff out of us, like the cortisol and so on. With environmental factors, we're surrounded by pollution, radiation, electromagnetic frequency, all this type of stuff. We need to keep flushing our body. Water's how we flush. So that will have a huge impact. Like a client of mine for the last few months even told me recently when I met him, the biggest change in his, because I asked him how he's feeling, how he's getting on. He says the thing that made the biggest change to his life was drinking more water. And I was actually surprised that was the one thing he picked out we were doing. But that's the power. So that's number one. Number two, I would say make a very conscious effort to decrease your processed food intake. The food industry, look, the reality is the use of humans is for profit. So industries see us for profit, okay? Healthy, happy humans are not profitable. They make no money for big industries. So this is why there's so much marketing behind products that are healthy or for children, and they're not. They're really, really bad. Especially when they're marketed for children, usually they're really bad, very high sugar, because they want to make sure that they get the kids addicted. So as they become adults, the same process will happen. They'll do the same with their own kids. So this is why it's so important to move more and more away from processed food. Now, if you consume a lot of processed food right now, and like the water, you can't just go from loads to none. So if you, for instance, consume, just pick if it's 4 pieces of processed food a day, you're going to commit, I'm going to do 3. Now, if you end up doing 2 or 1, amazing. But set the target that's better than what you've been doing. No different than water. You ended up having 1.5 liters when your target was 1. That's amazing. But the target you have to hit is 1. So with the processed food, the same thing. So you might have days without it. You might have Monday to Friday, none. The weekend you can. Or if you consume lots of processed food, less every day for a week, 2 weeks, then decrease it again, decrease it again, decrease it again. And the reality is the more whole food you consume, the more the body will want that food. Remember I said about my son, like he was raised eating broccoli and avocado and all that from the second he could consume food. He loves good food. He wants good food. His body wants good food. He doesn't have to be force-eated. His body is looking for it. When you eat good food, your body wants good food. Just like when you eat all bad food, your body wants bad food. Just how the body works biologically and chemical balance-wise. So decrease your processed food intake would be number 2. And the third one I'd say be very important would be to move more. So look at your activity levels right now. So it's like for yourself, you're saying you go running every morning, which is fantastic. So let's say if you do no resistance training, right? You might add a resistance training in 2-3 times a week. If you do none right now, it might be 15 minutes. That's all. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym for 1.5 hours or 2 hours or get a trainer or anything. You might do 15 minutes at home, do some squats, do some lunges, do some press-ups. You can put a YouTube video on, whatever way you want to do it, but do some resistance. That's a step in the right direction. If someone hasn't done any exercise like in years, Again, do 2, 3, 4, 15 minutes, whatever you want to do. Doesn't even matter. Go for a walk, do a YouTube video, do some push-ups, whatever. Cycle your bike, rollerblade, do something. Because all that matters is that you do something. So if you do nothing, your goal is that you do 3 to 4 15-minute bursts of something. If you do exercise consistently right now, look at where can I do more of what I do, or where can I add something I'm not doing, like the resistance, or maybe it's yoga or flexibility. But the main thing, again, you were improving. So basically you go into the start of January with, I'm going to increase my water, I'm going to decrease my processed food intake, and I'm going to become more active and add some activity that I need to do that I haven't been doing. And those 3 will be monumental in its impact on your energy, your mood. And when your mood's better, you make better choices. Your brain works better, your body works better. If you need to lose some fat off your body, that happens, tone up. There's just endless benefits. And then what you do is, after a couple of weeks, that's normal. You add something else, you just keep adding. And you'll want to add. That's the beauty of it. Once you get a couple of weeks in, you'll actually be looking, what else can I add? And it'd be like a snowball. Once that snowball going down the hill starts gathering pace, it gets bigger and bigger.
It's over.
It becomes unstoppable, basically.
Yeah. That's it, man. Look, man. God. Look, man. I feel like I just got a boost to my fitness journey today. So, man, I'm thinking about a few things as we had this conversation about what I'm doing. I do run a few miles, then I go into probably 30 minutes of resistance. So I think I'm on track. I'm in there. But the biggest thing is being intentional about this water, man. I think that is really huge. What I'm taking away from tonight. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna increase that. So I'm gonna try to do one more bottle than I do on the average, man. So
perfect.
I appreciate tonight, man. So much great information. If anybody wants to follow up with you, man, and kind of catch up with you, please give us the information to get locked in with you, Dave.
Sure. If you basically search my name, even just on Google, you'll find me in all the social medias, my website, but it's Dave Sheahan practically on all social media. So I'm on the Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, all of them. So wherever there's social media, I'm on it. And I put out a load of free content every single day. So there's loads of content going out to help people. And genuinely, if anyone has questions, feel free to contact me directly. Like, I answer messages myself. Because as I said at the start, my purpose is genuinely to make a positive impact on people. And that's what my life's about, apart from my son. So if you need help, ask me. If you got a question, ask me. Reach out. And as I said, make use of all the free content that I put out there every single day. And there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of videos and posts on all the platforms. So there's enough there that if you put into practice, you'll get amazing results.
Man, once again, thank you for the work tonight. So much great information. I look forward to just getting a chance to share this out. And I look forward to connecting again, man. Let's not make it 2 years this time, though. We got a little work to do.
Make it a bit shorter.
Hey, I got you all there, man. All right, y'all. This is KT for KTTV signing out. 100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood.
This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching.
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
KTTV.
KTTV.